I need to look and see if I can find a research library that focuses on the specific things that I'm going to be talking about this year on my channel. One of them is the suffrage movement in the United States of America. Now, I know that my local public library actually has an Abraham Lincoln collection. It's one of the biggest Abraham Lincoln collections in the country that I know of. So I'm gonna have to give them a call and see what they have on women's suffrage and if they have anything at all. Because I know that they have a little bit of abolition stuff as well. And I know that like Susan B. Anthony was heavily involved as well in the women's rights movement in the abolition movement. So I'm going to give them a call tomorrow and see if they have anything like that. But I was at the library today. I only went to one library, pretty big library system here. It is by a county up here, but it's also pretty big and pretty well stocked. And it is a historical library. Very, very basically what that means, as long as a book is taken into possession by the library, they always have to keep a copy of that book there. We have a rare book room. I'm having a lot of trouble with my R's today, apparently. I also burnt the hell out of my arm. Anyway, it took me forever to find this book. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever to find this book. I didn't realize it was actually a vintage book when I was looking for it. We don't really have a vintage section there. But I'm surprised that it wasn't in storage because we have a lot of older books in storage that are still circulated. But anyway, this is Victory. How Women Won It. A natural or Native American women's suffrage advantage. Not sure. It's kind of hard to read the text here. But just for concept, this book smells incredible. It's like, oh, it's a vintage book and it just smells so good. Like, why is this not a perfume? Why is this not a perfume? I want to wear this. So this book is really old. Let me find it. I found it earlier. So this book was published in 1940. I'm losing things. Oh, that's cool. This isn't from somebody else. This one's the coolest things. I found someone's actual entire notes in a book once, and I felt so bad that I like rushed it back to the library because I was like, they probably need this. Not like written in the margins, but like stuffed in there, like on 3x5 cards and stuff. And I was like, oh crap. So this book was originally published in 1940, and then it was taken into my library. You can even see the librarian's signature here on May 17th, or that might be March 17th, 1941. So the year after it was published, they have the like stampede thing. I don't know if it's gonna pick up on camera, but there's like a stamped there. This they don't do anymore. So books because it damages the book, right? But back in the ye olden times, they would do this so that you knew where the where the book belonged to. So I don't know, it just sounded really cool in the like little description they had on it. And then I got it and I realized, because what it said was that it was a you know, Victory, How Women Won It. And okay, Victory, How Women Won It. So basically this is supposed to be accounts of women that were actually in the suffrage movement, which is really kind of cool. And the fact that I have access to this book through my library is amazing, because this book is super old, and the fact that it's in such good condition too. Because there are going to be accounts in here and there are going to be records in here that I won't be able to more than likely access online. Now, I don't know how valuable this book is or anything like that, but I do know that it smells amazing. I love old books. Let me know if you love old books too. arm is burning again. I'm gonna have to go run it under cold water. And I think these are all interviews. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. So there's the forward, obviously. And then there's the table of contents. I'm just walking you through this whole book, apparently. There's an index up here at the front. And there is an itemized and biography. I don't know, my dyslexic brain can't do that tonight. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I don't know how accurate it is or anything, but I do know it's really cool that I even have access to it. So yeah, expect to see me reference this a lot in the series, hopefully, which I'll feel a little bad about because I don't know how many copies of this are floating around. So I will do a little bit of digging to see if this is like a super rare book or not. I'm just gonna Google it and find out. And I will get back to you because I'm curious now. Okay, good. I wasn't actually using a release copy of it, a newer edition of it. It just looks like it's a reprint. It doesn't look like it's been added to or anything, so that's helpful. So I can just link that, as well as a ton of people are selling these. So that's good because I can actually use this as a referencing. So I'm gonna want to play with this and see what I think. It's really freaking cool though. So you never know what might be in here. Then also on my suffrage shelf, I have this, which is, I used to read, okay. The Ideas of Women's Suffrage from 1890 to 1920. From 1890 to 1920. This is also really old. This is from 1965 though, so it's not nearly as old. Someone's written in it. Don't write in library books, kids. Okay, but this does have footnotes, which is going to be helpful for me. So those are the two old books I got today. Like super old, like vintage books. Then I got this one, which is on the oversized, which is winning, right? Where the hell does the title start? How do you know on books like this where the title starts? I'm assuming it starts at the top. Let's see. Okay. Winning the Vote is the, like, title of the book. Which makes sense. It's very shiny. But this, okay, so. Winning the Vote. The troubling, I think that's troubling, of the American women's suffrage movement. And this is an oversized book, obviously. It's like a coffee table style heavy book. But it's absolutely gorgeous. So let me just, it's from 2005, so this isn't very old at all. So it has so many pictures and stuff like that in here. So it has prints of newspapers and stuff like that, which is going to be helpful for me because if I ever get access to them on microfiche or something like that, either through my local public library system, which has a very large genealogy department, or through another library system that also would have them on microfiche, or a rare library, like a rare book library or something like that, that would have them on microfiche, then I'll know exactly what I'm looking for and I won't have to spend a lot of extra time. Or if I'm calling to set up an appointment and something like that, I can say, oh, I need to look at the ... from ... which is what you do when you set up an appointment to look at like a rare book situation. So but I'm going to give a call probably tomorrow to the Lincoln Library and see what they have in regards to women's suffrage and that stuff, as well as the turmoil before the Civil War started. So the political atmosphere of the US before the Civil War started and how things led up to it, because that's going to be involved in next year's stuff. Okay. So there's just like a lot of like newspaper stuff here and whatnot. Always good. Might be heavy resource, I don't know. Then we have votes for women, American suffrage, and the bold and brave. I think I have all sorts of different levels of resources. I've gotten this out before. It's pretty good. I like it. Then I have Kids Guide to American History, and I got this just to kind of have a little bit of oversight of something that would like might have a paragraph or something I can use. I don't know. Find out. I have the big fat notebook American History for the same reason. And remember, kids, don't write in your library books. So I don't know how much of this is going to be useful to me or whatnot for any of the stuff that I'm doing, but I'm gonna do that. So. And we have Much and Stuffy, I think. I can't read the subtitle. Still can't read the subtitle. That's a little unfriendly dyslexic font. But this was just on the shelf with the other suffragette stuff and the other suffrage stuff, excuse me, in the young adult section. So I picked it up. It's a relatively new book. I can feel by the paper. It's super new. We'll find the version. Give me a second. Yeah, 2016. So it's like first step. So this is like a pretty basic rundown thing, but again, I'm gonna use sources from the pages. I can the pages. I like having lots of different sources that I can like buy from and work with and in and around. I'm not joking with these series next year, guys. Obviously. Not Siri. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, then we have this book, which is Let Women Vote. I believe that this is a young adult level. It's also pretty old. Yeah, this is from 1996, so not as old as me, but pretty old. And yes, I know that some stuff has changed, etc., etc., etc. And yes, I will fact check and blah, 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 blah. But again, I want to be able to pull things that people can readily access through their local public library or something else. Then I have this, which is just a kid's picture book, but it was on the shelf. So I could do this, I think, which is early, nope, this is for Women's Vote. It's just a simple little picture book about it. Nothing wrong with that. Then we have Women's Suffrage. A lot of these are going to be like in series and stuff for school and whatnot. So yeah. Cafe Equality. Women canvassing for the right to vote. 1840 to 1920. This just sounds cool, even though it is a young adult level book. It sounds cool. Now, a lot of these, obviously, they're not going to be able to detail, but they're going to give me the ability to figure out what way I'm going and how I want to steer things. Yes, I'm going to talk about Susan B. Anthony. I'm going to talk about the big hitters, but I also want to talk about the people nobody talks about, if I can find resources on them, because I know they're out there. I know they exist, and I want their voices to be heard as well. Okay, speaking the right to vote. And some of this is actually about some modern women doing modern things, so that's cool. Women won the vote. The hard facts, brilliant of women's suffrage, I think. It's hard for me to read stuff when it's like over a picture. That's why I have trouble on live streams for them. Again, I'm not expecting this to be super hitting. And yes, obviously I'm going to cover Susan B. Anthony. I'm going to cover the major people, but I also want to cover people that not a lot of people have heard of when I can find resources on them. And I want to get in depth into it because I want people to be able, sorry, this is a children's level, excuse me. I want people to be able to do their own research and have access to it. I just want to facilitate it. And the only way I know really how to do this is to basically make a lesson plan and kind of do it that way. If you're going to do an educational video series a different way, that's totally fine. I have no qualms about it. I just know that I care about this stuff and I want other people to care about it too, which is why I'm making such a big deal about it and why I'm doing these 2 full series through the entire year with other stuff sprinkled in. Because I care and I want to care and it matters to me. So that's why I'm doing it, if you're wondering. Okay. What do we have? Absolute place. The fight for women's rights. This book is heavy. Oh my goodness. This is another book with a ton of photos in it. And then we have Vote. Women's fight for the ballot box. Which is also a really heavy book, weirdly. And again, I just want this to give me more resources to look at, fiction books to read, stuff to point out, stuff to talk about, etc. It's not going to be dry and boring, I promise. It's going to be involved and integrative. I'm going to have podcasts that I like, recommend. I'm going to do a lot of things. It's going to be awesome. Yes, I might recommend a kids series. I'm actually going to do that for the other one, for sure. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try it. I'm just saying, have an open mind, guys. Have an open mind. Okay. So the thing is, and this hit me the other day, since I've been going out canvassing, the reality is that for somebody my age 100 years ago, I could be arrested for that. I just want to let that sink in. I just want to let that sink in that someone my age 100 years ago could have been arrested for what I'm totally allowed to do today. That's kind of awesome if you think about it. And then this I got just because it looked really cool. So it's Progression, the Journey of 16 Excellent Black Souls. I've read other stuff in this by this author and they're very good, so I highly recommend it. If you just want to like get a little bit of bite about somebody, but you don't want to do like a super involved, like heavy research load or like read a huge biography on them, getting one of those like book sets is super helpful. That way you can be like, oh, this person's super extra interesting to me, and then you can pick up biographies on that person. So, all right, let's do the other side that I have. All right, I didn't get nearly as much stuff about elections today. Ooh. But that's okay, because I'm going to figure out what I need to get. These and these are the same thing. So these are both fiction novels. The Kid Who Ran for President and The Kid Who Became President are staples from my childhood. This is how I understand how the Electoral College works and the electoral system works in this country, are these two books. So thank you to, what's your face? What's his name? Dan Gunman, because this is the only way I actually understand it. So I will be using these. I will be recommending them. I will be talking about them. I will be involving them, because this is how I understand how my government works to an extent, are these books. And that's why I'm going to be talking about novels, because it matters. But I have audiobooks here as well. So yeah. And I have The White House. I don't know why I said it like that. And then I have another book on the White House, which is actually, nope, it's just called The White House. Then I have the School Reader Flies Guide to the President White House. Then we have See How They Run. On the surface, it looks like it's just a simple picture book, but it's not. Kind of explains Schauspiel to an extent. Then we have presidential elections. I just grabbed this for ideas and decorating resources, because this is technically like a teacher's guide. We have the Electoral College, the only book I got on the Electoral College today, sadly. And then we have this, which, if I remember correctly, this was actually featured on an episode of Reading Rainbow. If so, I will try to find that and link it. We have Vote. So, I remember correctly this was, but I'm not sure. And we have, it's covered up by the library stuff. The book of the election book, Picking a President, I think is what that says. Then we have One Vote, Two Vote, I Vote, You Vote from Cat in the Hat. Then we have One President, No Vote, I think. Then we have Washington, D.C. for kids. It's like a guide. We are planning to take a family trip next year, so that's why I picked this up, because I want to go to D.C. And that is all the books I got today at the library. Oh, and I got this, but I had it on hold. It is it's Pride, the LGBTQ plus rights movement photo journal thing. It's the 50th Enroll edition. So that is everything I got today. Yes, I need to get more. Yes, I need to fine tune stuff. And yes, I need to go through everything, which I will do tomorrow. But, anywho, apparently I forgot to close out this video. But anyway, love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, any questions, comments, or suggestions, put them in the Chamber of Secrets down below. Any links to anything I talked about here, as well as many of these books as I possibly can, will be in the Chamber of Secrets down below. Do not forget to go visit your local public library and pick up a book. Tell me what you're currently reading in the dungeons, in the Chamber of Secrets. Anything will be linked to the dungeons, so tell me what you're currently reading. I am currently reading like 3 books. Waiting for my upload. I'm currently reading The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali, and Shortest Way Home, and one more. Loading, it's on a different app. First Blood. So that's what I'm currently reading. What are you?